Okay, so let's kick this off. I want to welcome you to the webinar, Better Sleep, Better Brains. So in this webinar, we will be looking at the importance of sleep, how lack of sleep affects us, particularly our brains, and what we can do to improve sleep. My goal today is to give you at least one piece of information that you can take away that will help you to get a better night's sleep. In my experience with people living with dementia, it's a scary and ultimately sad disease to live with. So anything that we can do to decrease our chances of memory loss and to slow cognitive decline, we need to start doing now, no matter what age we are. And that's why I've created this webinar. Trying to get to the next screen. Okay, so just a disclaimer before we get started. The information in this presentation is a general guide only and does not replace advice from a medical professional. If you have a medical condition, you're pregnant, nursing, or taking medication, always check with your qualified medical professional first and for all health concerns. This workshop and my philosophy is to support brain health using the primary factors of exercise, nutrition, good sleep, reduction of the toxic load, reduction of stress, and community support. So a little bit about me before we go into the whole sleep part of this webinar. I'm an Ageless Grace brain health exercise trainer and educator. Ageless Grace is a beautiful program. If you haven't experienced Ageless Grace or heard of Ageless Grace, it is an exercise program that's designed for anyone of any level of ability. The exercises have a brain element in all of them, so you're working 5 primary functions of the brain. It's all designed to slow cognitive decline or even improve cognitive decline, and it is done seated. So, and it only takes 10 minutes a day. I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go along. I'm also a dementia communication coach. I have been trained in Dementia Live, Compassionate Touch, older person's mental health first aid. I run aromatherapy sessions for and training for anybody, but I do particularly have a passion for holding these sessions for carers because carers can often burn out. I think the carer is often forgotten that they need care too, and they don't put themselves first. And so we have beautiful aromatherapy sessions, small sessions with carers, and it's just a beautiful, wonderful experience. I also teach about low tox living because the toxic load that we're exposed to is not good for our brains. And so we really need to work out ways that we can reduce our toxic load. Other than that, I'm a grandmother. I'm a grandma first and foremost, before anything. I will drop everything for my 2 little boys. And I also have a mother who is living with dementia. So that's a photo of her there. That was only taken last week. So Mum turned 94 last week. So I know what memory loss is like. For me, having watched my mother go through it, I really want to do everything that I can to support my brain and to give it the best possible chance of aging well and not having to experience that huge extent of memory loss and cognitive decline, because it's not only, I'd say it's probably harder for the families than it is for the person. I don't know. I can't really say that, but it's just a horrible experience to go through. I don't want to go through it. I don't want my children to have to care for me because I can't remember who they are or all those things that go with dementia. So not only have I got the training with people who are living with dementia, but I also know what it's like to have that emotional element as well when you're trying. You know, you can't detach yourself from that that love and that affection and that emotion that you have for that person. So this is why brain health is so important to me. So there are a number of elements involved in having a healthy brain. They include nutrition. So what we eat, what we put into our bodies is very, very important. Exercise is important. As I've already mentioned, Ageless Grace is my favorite form of exercise. Lots of fun. I like to play when I exercise. It only, 10 minutes a day is nothing in a day, if that's going to help your brain as you age. Stress is such a huge element and such an awful thing to expose our bodies to. It's unavoidable in this day and age, but if we've got methods and ways of dealing with stress, it will help. As I say, I love to teach about low tox living, so getting those toxins out of our everyday lives. Our homes are just full of toxins. From the minute we get up in the morning, we are putting toxins on our skins, we are inhaling them. I could go on, but that's a whole nother webinar. Community and friendships, I think through 2020 to 2022, people having to go into isolation, it just proved to us how much we need our friends and our community and people around us. We do feed off other people, and it does help with our stress levels, with our happiness, and it's such an important thing. And of course, what we're talking about today is sleep. I just wanted to focus today primarily on sleep. This won't be a long webinar. I'm not going to keep you here for a long time. I want you to just be able to get some really quick and simple ways of having a better night's sleep. Okay, so sleep is the time for rest and rejuvenation. It's very important. It is sacred. We can't live without it. Sleep is good medicine. So many things happen when we sleep, which we'll go into more detail. And sleep is the master regulator of hormones. The circadian rhythm in humans depends on the daytime and the nighttime, and it guides our body processes accordingly. So many, many hormones are secreted while we sleep, and they are essential for the feeling of refreshment we have when we wake up. Not only that, but they are important for the proper function of all of the organs and cells of our body. So this is why sleep isn't so important. So some of the hormones that are released in high amounts when we're sleeping, some examples are growth hormones. So in children, that's what helps them grow. They're sleeping and they release lots of growth hormone and they're growing while they're sleeping. But in adults, the growth hormone's primary purpose is in restoring and rejuvenating tissue and cell. So a lack of human growth hormone leads to skin issues and even problems with immunity. We release in high amounts a hormone called antidiuretic hormone, ADH, and this slows down the function of the kidneys so that the need for going to the bathroom at night is reduced to a minimum. We also release a hormone called prolactin, and prolactin is primarily associated with milk production in women who have babies, but it also exists in men and women who don't have children. And prolactin regulates the immune system and metabolism. So that can partly explain why if we have problems with sleep, then we're going to have problems with metabolism and then we see weight gain. So I want to talk about what happens to the brain while we're sleeping. And these are only recent studies. So it's only been in the last several years that scientists have discovered, they're discovering so many great things about the brain. And with Ageless Grace, we will tell you that, it's only in recent years that scientists, to 30, 40 years, scientists have discovered that, that we can continue to make to make new brain connections as we age, right up until the day we die. Whereas once upon a time, it was thought that once we lost connections, we couldn't make new ones. So that was amazing. That's an amazing discovery. But the other thing is that they've also discovered, you may have heard that we have a lymphatic system. Well, we also have what they're calling in the brain, a glymphatic system. It's a fantastic system, and it's where the brain cuts back on things that you have learned while you're sleeping. So we call this pruning, and this allows room in the brain for new learnings. What happens is the brain cells actually shrink 60% while we're in that REM3 stage, allowing for the broom, what they call the broom, to sweep clean. Just lost my video. I'm going to get that back there. For a broom to come along and sweep out the cells. So the glymphatic system is like a garbage truck of the brain. It'll flush out toxins, it will flush out oxidants, and proteins are removed. So scientists often discover, and people who are living with dementia, that they have a buildup of proteins. There's an amyloid and a tau in particular. They have a buildup of these in the brains, and they have thought for some time now that these could be responsible for some forms of dementia. So when we're sleeping, the brain is actually cleaning out these proteins. So that is part of the reason why sleep is so incredibly important. So our REM sleep is critical and it's vital and we need it, but 10 to 20 minute naps can also be beneficial to cognitive abilities, and I will talk about that a little bit more in 1 or 2 slides upcoming. Oh dear. And thinking with a sleep-deprived brain is like hacking your way through a dense jungle with a machete. It's overgrown, it's exhausting, and it's slow going. So you can just imagine if you're not getting that REM3 sleep at night, and those old dead cells or those proteins, things that we don't need that should have been cleaned out the night before, they haven't been flushed out of our system. And so we're suddenly building all these weeds up in our brain, and it's making it harder for us to concentrate and function. So one night of poor sleep affects our mood. I don't know about you, but when I have one night of poor sleep, I am tired and I'm cranky and I'm miserable. And this is where those 10 to 20 minute naps come in, so they can help you rejuvenate a little bit through the day. And a nanny nap can do wondrous things to help you to function better, particularly in the brain, and be able to keep going and get through that day. But the problem is chronic poor sleep leads to decline in cognitive function. And so we really, really need to be aware of that. So that's what we're really focusing on in this webinar today. So let's look at sleep deprivation. It can lead to weight gain, those hormones, fatigue, mood changes. So in the short term, tiredness, crankiness, all that sort of thing, difficulty concentrating. In the long term, we have memory problems. It can even lead to paranoia and hallucinations. So it's that chronic sleep deprivation that is going to lead to these things. Depression causes sleep disturbances, so it's kind of a two-way street there, where lack of sleep causes depression, but depression can also cause sleep issues. So we've got to get the balance right there. Brain fog and increased risk of Alzheimer's disease and dementia, because we're not getting out that lovely cleanse of our brain at night while we're sleeping. So I do want to note here that if any of these symptoms sound concerning to you, please see your health practitioner for a diagnosis. that we can't take some of those symptoms lightly. And, you know, just some short-term help maybe what gets you through to be able to create a lovely sleep routine, and, you know, get you functioning better again. It's going to go. So sleep deprivation, even for a short time, has noticeable consequences on our hormones. In healthy young people, it can significantly decrease testosterone in men and estrogen in women. It increases insulin and causes higher insulin resistance. If sleep is disturbed, there are many hormone changes that can affect our mood, so we become more prone to stress and anxiety, along with insomnia. So have a look at the benefits of sleep. In normal sleep, our adrenals produce cortisol, which has anti-inflammatory effects and helps support a healthy immune system. We're also looking, while we're sleeping, our muscles are being repaired, protein is being synthesized, we have tissue growth, hormones are being released. As I just mentioned, hormones play such a big role when we're sleeping. It reduces stress, improves your memory, helps you to maintain a healthy body weight. It may prevent illnesses, as I said. It you know, supports that healthy immune system. And sleep is important for your mental health as well. I mean, it's really you know, it really does affect our happiness and our mental health if we're not getting a good night's sleep. So I want to go into how we get a good night's sleep. And it all starts with preparation. So this is a whole routine, and this is the meat in the sandwich here. I want to go through what we can do to help us to get a good night's sleep. And one, you know, if you can take one thing away from this and it helps you to sleep a little bit better at night, like I said, my job is done. That's what I'm here for. So we start as early as 2 o'clock. Actually, we start when we get up, but we'll get into that a little bit in a little bit. But we've got to stop having caffeine by 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And people who are coffee drinkers probably know that already. Stop alcohol 3 hours before lights out. As we get older too, our metabolism slows, and therefore drinking alcohol at night, it's going to stay in our systems for a long time. And I know that if I drink alcohol at night, I have a dreadful night's sleep. I'm probably one of the world's best sleepers, but alcohol is just a no-no for me at night. So when you see older people, we often go out for lunch and you see older people having a glass of wine with their lunch or whatever, that now finally makes sense to me. That's why they're doing it. Maybe not even consciously, but if they have that glass of wine, they might even go home and have a little nana nap, but it's out of their systems by the time they go to bed at night, and they can have a better night's sleep. And stop exercising 4 hours before bedtime. Now, I'm a big advocate for exercise, and I think exercise helps us sleep a lot better at night, but we need to have a limit as to how late we do that exercise, so we're not stimulating and getting ourselves all, you know, in that active space and then not being able to settle. Our bedroom needs to be our sleep sanctuary. So I know that some people, through no choice of, you know, not being able to, not having any choice in this, will have their computers in their bedrooms because they have to work out of the bedrooms. They don't have a spare space. But really, we need to try and keep those separate, whatever we can, keep them separate from our bedroom. Our bedroom needs to be the place we go to, where we settle down and have a beautiful night's sleep. And that, you know, that it's our sanctuary. It's our place to get away from the world, to get away from everything that's happening through the days, and just let our body do what it needs to do to rejuvenate and repair. I'm not going to tell you how to keep house, but I think it's a great idea to have your bed made if you can make it in the mornings. And you know, I can walk past, I make my bed every morning. When I walk past that bedroom through the day, I can look in and think, oh, I just can't wait to go get in there tonight, because it is that little sanctuary where I just have a beautiful night's sleep. And and one of the things that my partner does, which is a really lovely thing to do, is that each night, you know, even prior to that 1 hour preparation for bed, he will go in and he will fold back the sheets. He'll get all the cushions, because I have lots of cushions on the bed. He'll get all that excess off the bed, puts our pillows on there. And, you know, I have my favorite pillow that I love. I don't know if you do, but I think a lot of people have a pillow that it's their pillow, and it's beautiful. So having that pillow, you know, and he folds back, and so, you know, when we go to bed at night, it's all ready to just jump in and snuggle under those blankets. Now, we're going to now talk about the things that you can do to prepare for sleep at night. You know, so what we need to do is start about an hour before we go to bed. We turn off technology, turn off the TV, and start, first of all, listening to some nice relaxing sounds, some soothing music, podcasts. I know that I always loved to read to my children at night, and even my grandchildren. I love to read to them when they're going to bed at night. And I thought one time, I thought, gee, I'd love it if someone would read me a story when I'm going to bed at night. And there are actually podcasts where people do that. They'll read stories. It could be stories they've written themselves, or stories, you know, even books. Just listening to that at night is so relaxing and soothing. So there's plenty of things that you can listen to at night. Put those headphones on, close your eyes, chill out and relax. Food is another thing at night. So we really need to be eating a light, nutritious meal at night. There is a very strong relationship between sleep and the microbiome of the gut. So when you think about it, if you go to bed at night and you're having to digest a heavy meal of carbohydrates, or you've eaten too much, you know, your energy, your body's energies are going to have to go into digesting that food, when they really need to be going into to be used for all those natural body processes that need to happen while we're asleep, like the cleansing of the brain, like the releasing of all those hormones, like the rejuvenating and repair of the body and the cells. So a light, nutritious meal is critically important. So smell is such a powerful, is probably the most powerful of our senses. It's the only one of our senses that actually bypasses the conscious brain, and it goes straight to the limbic system, and this is where our memories are stored, which is often why you might, you know, you'll smell something and immediately it takes you back to a place and a memory from the past. So smell is, and smell can be so supportive of a good night's sleep. So as part of the preparation for your sleep and your sleep sanctuary, I recommend turning on a diffuser about 1 hour before bedtime. By using essential oils such as lavender, cedarwood, and orange, or a combination of these three, or there's lots of other different essential oils that you can use, it will not only help support your quality of sleep, but it will also help with the time it takes to go to sleep. So several years ago, I started diffusing lavender every night before we went to bed. My partner was a terrible, very restless sleeper. I had a lot of problems with sleeping. And after about 2 weeks of diffusing the lavender, I wasn't even consciously looking for it, but I suddenly became aware of the fact that he was sleeping better at night. He wasn't restless, he wasn't tossing and turning, he wasn't even waking up some nights, whereas before he'd been waking up regularly, going to the toilet, propping himself up with pillows. And even he, without realizing it, he must have been, subconsciously realizing that as well, because if there were nights when where I hadn't turned the diffuser on, he would actually say to me, are you going to put that on tonight? Because I think he knew that it was giving him a better night's sleep. Quality of essential oils can be very different from, depending on brands. So I do like to talk about that, but we'll talk about that a little bit. I do talk about that in a different webinar, and I'll be running another webinar next week where I go into much more detail about that. And so, yeah, I'll tell you more information about that as well. So it's good to schedule yourself some pamper time. So in that hour before you go to bed, you're listening to some relaxing music, you've got your diffuser going in the bedroom. Why not sit there and apply some nice body cream? Just to enjoy applying that, some cream to your hands, to your legs, to your feet. Consciously being aware of how it feels on your skin. I do have to stress here, though, that we don't want to put more toxins into our bodies before we go to bed at night and before we sleep, because, the brain's already going to have to be cleansing and getting rid of those unnecessary toxins and all that load that's there. So I would stress that you use a nice natural hand and body lotion, something that isn't full of chemicals. Mindfulness, if that's something that you like to do, do a meditation or yoga session before bed. That can help boost sleep time and sleep quality and make that part of your routine. Some nights I like to go to bed and the last thing I do is just put on a guided meditation. I lie down, I get ready for sleep, tuck myself in and just have that guided meditation, and it puts me off to sleep very nicely. And even if you wake up through the night and can't get back to sleep, something like that can really help you to relax. Turn your mind off and just get back into that sleep mode. So how do you feel when you wake up? And so our morning routine can have a lot to do with how we sleep at night. I'm not someone who wakes up, bright and sparkly and jumping out of bed and ready to go. Never have been, never will be. But I do have a routine that gets me going in the morning, gets me started, kicks things off for me. And we'll talk about how your routine in the morning affects your sleep at night. So now here, setting an alarm can really help you get into these routines. So if you set an alarm 1 hour before you'd like to be settled in bed, that will remind you that it's time to step out of your day and start winding down and putting those processes in place to have a good night's sleep. And then also set your alarm to have a consistent wake-up time. Doing that tells the brain what it's supposed to do and when it's supposed to do it. So if you're a person who gets up the same time every day for work during the week, try and keep that going on the weekends as well, as close as possible. Maybe have a little bit of a sleep in, half an hour or something, but try and keep your wake-up time very consistent if you can, because it really helps the brain to understand what your expectations are, and it will help you to be more settled at night as well. So as I say, how you start your day can help determine how you sleep at night. Sunlight within 30 minutes of waking up turns off the melatonin in our bodies. So getting that daylight, putting on the kettle, going outside and, looking up at the sunshine. If it's not a sunny day, just being outside, having a look around, seeing that it's daytime is all going to help with turning off that melatonin and setting the scene for the day, but setting the scene for the night as well. We dehydrate a lot through the night, so it's important to drink water when we wake up. A good thing to do, which I highly recommend, is having some warm water with lemon in it. Even some apple cider vinegar as well is really good for our bodies. So if you drink water when you wake up at night, when you wake up in the morning, squeeze of lemon. I use lemon essential oil, which is actually approved for consumption. and that really helps hydrate the body and get it ready for the day. Oops, what's happening here? Okay, so it's important to know that if the brain is healthy, then sleep is healthy, but also if sleep is healthy, the brain is healthy. So it's getting that balance because they go hand in hand. So it's quite a merry-go-round, and getting that balance is going to help you to sleep better at night, and it's going to help your brain function through the day for a long time. Nobody's sleep is perfect. I probably have the closest thing to what I call perfect sleep, but I'm sure I know there's improvements to be made. So just know that nobody has a perfect night's sleep. And with sleep, it's one of those things that the less you look for it, the more it shows up. So I think one of the things that we can get into is that habit of stressing that we're going to not have a good night's sleep, and just, you know, that mindset that before we go to bed at night that we know we're not going to sleep well. So I think we need to stop focusing on trying to get that night's sleep, just focusing on that routine and getting yourselves into a nice routine at night. The brain starts to understand what the expectations are, and just forget about trying to sleep, you know, just trying to go with the flow and relax and let your body do what it knows best and not control it. So that's really the essence of what a good night's sleep entails. And I hope that you've got something out of at least, you know, just one thing that you could do differently that can help you to have a better night's sleep. I mentioned earlier that exercise is critically important to a good night's sleep. So I would recommend, I highly recommend checking out the Ageless Grace program. You'll find it on agelessgraceaustralasia.com.au. We have actually a self-paced course on there. It's only $97. You can do it online. You have access to it forever. And you can do your 10 minutes a day. There's videos on there. You can do the exercises with us, and you can really feel the benefits and get to feel what it's like to do exercise, and your brain will thank you for it in the long run. If you need more sleep support, I have another webinar, and I will be running a free webinar in 7 days' time. So next Tuesday, we'll be doing Sleep Better, Stress Less. And I'll go into some more things about sleep and also stress, because the two are very much related. If we're stressing, we're not going to sleep well at night. And in this, I will talk more about the essential oils and how they help to support us to have a better night's sleep. But in the meantime, if you love the thought of using essential oils at night and diffusing them when you go to bed, I do have available a Sweet Dreams kit, which will give you that lavender essential oil. It will give you a 5 ml bottle of cedarwood essential oil, a 10 ml roll-on bottle of Peace and Calming, which is a beautiful, beautiful essential oil. You can use that through the day. You can use it at night. You can use it anytime, just to help calm when you're in stressful situations. Or you just need to, you know, feel like you need to chill out a little bit. This one also comes with a beautiful satin eye mask and a spray bottle. So you can make up a spray. You can just simply put the lavender and the cedarwood essential oils into that bottle, add some water to it, and spray it on your pillow and on your sheets. So it makes a beautiful spray. If you don't have a diffuser to diffuse those oils, so just pop them straight onto the bed. You can pop those oils straight onto yourself as well. Normally, that little kit there is worth $144, but if you purchase it through me, I can get you a wholesale account for $100, and you'll get that kit for $109.75. So great deal there. You get 24% off if you purchase it through me. You can also get the Sweet Dreams kit, which comes with a diffuser. So you've got that beautiful Lucia artisan diffuser that comes with it. It's lovely. I think it goes for about 8 hours at night. It has different colors. You can turn it off completely, so there's no light going at all, but it's still diffusing. And with that, you also still get your lavender oil, your cedarwood oil, your Peace and Calming roll-on, and that eye mask. and also the spray bottles. So why not have your diffuser going and spray your pillows and sheets at the same time? That kit is normally, that kit is normally, I've put that there, $282.90, and you can purchase that through me at the discounted price of $215. So if you like the look of either of those, just pop the word sleep in the comments, or after this webinar is finished, I will be sending out an email. If you registered with this and I have your email address, I'll be sending you out an email, and there will be a link on how to order either of those kits. So I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope you've got something out of this that will help you to have a better night's sleep. Our brains depend on us. Let's be kind to our brains. Let's live sharp and healthy until the day we die. And just, enjoy our days every day because we've had a good night's sleep at night. So thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you next week in my next webinar, Sleep Better, Stress Less.